What's up, guys, and welcome back to Love Has No Limits.
Today's podcast episode is going to be really exciting because we have our first guest!
So say hi to Chloe, everyone. I mean, I know she can't hear you, but yeah, just say it back to your phone or computer or whatever.
Okay, so we have a very interesting story from Chloe today, and we're really excited because obviously this is our first guest on the show. So from here, how about Chloe, if you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll get into your story.
Yeah, so I don't really know how much to say about myself. My name's Chloe. I'm from the West Midlands in the UK. I'm 22, and my boyfriend's name is Cole, and he lives in Illinois in the US.
Awesome.
Really quick side note, Sam and I want to name our son Cole. Like, if we have a boy, we always
Except her
say that
parents
his name
hate
will be
the idea.
Cole. I love that name. I just love it.
It's so great.
Okay, so...
We should call the other one Dylan.
Oh, God. I can't. All right, so Chloe sent in a really interesting story that literally captivated me the second I read the first paragraph. So, Chloe, if you want to just give a little bit of a rundown of your story, and then we can just go from there, ask any questions, and you could share any type of advice and stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I don't want to basically just read what I sent you, but I'm not sure how much detail you want me to go into.
Honestly, whatever you feel comfortable with, however much information you want to give is absolutely awesome with us.
Okay, so I guess it all starts with me having my own YouTube channel, which is all about books, which sounds very, very strange to someone who's never heard of it, but there is a whole booktube community on YouTube, and we all read a lot. And through that, I met my best friend, Brittany. So she's only a couple of years older than me, and she lives in Illinois with her husband and their kids.
Right.
Basically just started talking every single day. We had so much in common. We liked some of the same books. So after about 9 months, I decided, let's go and meet her.
Right, wow. And how, just quickly, how long ago was that?
So we probably started talking, I'm going to get this wrong now because I know her family's going to listen to this podcast. So I booked the flight, I want to say in June 2019.
Right, okay.
We probably started talking like September 2018.
Okay, cool. So it's been a couple of years or so that you've been friends.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So I booked the flights for October last year. And basically I was just so excited to meet my best friend. It was nothing, there was no relationship side of anything. And at that time, which I wasn't really sure whether to include in my story because it is a bit of a sensitive topic. At the time of my trip out there, I was in a long-term relationship.
Right.
So there definitely was I wasn't going to America looking for anything. I just wanted to meet my best friend, but there were a couple of issues in my relationship that I was kind of struggling with, and I probably won't say any more than that, if that's okay.
Yeah, so
No,
if you're not comfortable talking more about it, that's absolutely fine. But would you be willing to give us some details about, I think, were you guys living together? How long were you together and stuff like that?
So we'd been together 4.5 years.
Okay.
We were living together. Luckily, we were just renting, like we hadn't bought a house. And there was just a couple of things, like I'd gone to uni and got a graduate job, and I was like bringing the money in, and everything was sort of on me, and it was a bit of a burden, I guess.
It's
Really?
kind of like you're taking care of him in a way then, because you have to be paying the
it
bills.
definitely was like that.
That's definitely got to be a strain on a relationship, hasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely was, and I think we sort of tried to address the problems maybe 3 years in. We said, look, we need to sort this out, or this needs to end, and we were sort of just in a bit of a rut, I guess. And he was looking at me to provide for him, which I didn't really want to do anymore.
Yeah.
So he wasn't really a very ambitious guy, was he? And I'm assuming you were looking for something different.
Yeah, it wasn't even that I needed ambition. I just wanted somebody to take care of me, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm a very ambitious person myself. Like, I will happily go to work full time, pay the bills, but I want someone else to do it as well.
You want someone to at least match you, don't you? Definitely.
And especially if
exactly.
you're living with someone, it's not your full responsibility to take care of everything also.
So you said that you were kind of doing the providing. If you're comfortable answering this, were you paying pretty much all the bills and stuff? Were you funding his life?
Yeah, I was paying 100% of the rent, 100% of the bills.
Wow.
I was paying for like food shopping, alcohol, tobacco, and I don't smoke.
No.
So yeah, it
can be a very
lot.
expensive hobby, can't it? Smoking or
that
habits.
that must have been such a strain on you, just by
Definitely.
yourself. Like, I can't even imagine having to, provide fully for somebody else.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was definitely hard.
So is that something you guys had kind of been, had there been kind of tension about that for a while then?
Yeah, there'd definitely been tension, and there'd been a lot that I went back to his dad and his stepmom and said, look, I can't keep doing this for very much longer. Can you guys have a word? We'd have sit-down conversations where I said, look, you need to do this, this, and this, or I've got to go, I can't do it. So it was definitely, I think my trip to America came at a time where it was really testing anyway. Like,
right.
People said, why didn't you take him with you? And because I would have had to pay for his plane ticket.
Yeah.
So
definitely, and plane ticket, and at the end of the day, I mean, plane tickets to America, especially what's Illinois to the UK? Maybe 4,000 miles or so.
Yeah, it's 4,000. Well, it's 3,910 if you want to be exact.
Oh, there we go. So I'm guessing.
It's a long way.
Yeah, so flights are going to be expensive, and not to mention the fact that if your boyfriend went with you, I'm assuming you'd probably want to get a hotel and stuff like that.
Yeah. So when I went, I actually stayed in Brittany's daughter's bedroom, because it was just me. But I think if he would have come with me, that would have been a definite strain. And Brittany lives in a very, very small town, so it would have been staying in a hotel outside of town, and it would have been a lot to figure out, a lot more expensive.
So basically, as a quick overview so far, you met Brittany in kind of mid to late 2018, became best friends. 9 months later, June 2019, was it? You decided to fly over there. At that point, your relationship, your 4.5-year relationship was really on the rocks. You were providing for your boyfriend. You talked about this, multiple times. You got his parents involved, and just there was a load of tension and strain on the relationship.
Yeah, pretty much exactly.
It must have been so nice to get away, though, and just have your alone time, especially going to meet your long distance friend. It must have been just helping you to feel much better.
Do you feel like maybe that was an eye opener for your relationship? Because maybe did you feel like you were kind of trapped in that kind of endless cycle of providing for him, and getting away to America was an eye opener?
It insanely was, and there's a lot of times over, especially the last year and a half of that relationship, where I'd go on holiday with just my parents,
right,
and he'd stay at home and things like that. We wouldn't, or I'd go out with my friends and he'd stay at home. So it was a lot of me doing things by myself anyway. I felt independent enough to go to America by myself. I didn't really need him to go with me.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So yeah, it was 100% an eye opener, and I think a lot of things that I obviously I'll go on to say, different ways I was treated and sort of provided for, definitely made me think, wow, that's not how that should work. Yeah.
So let's move on. So you got to America. No, it's absolutely fine. So you got to America. Things were all good with meeting your friend. So let's talk about meeting your best friend first. Yes. Was she like in person how you kind of anticipated? Was she the same in person?
Was it awkward when you first met her? Because we've talked about this before, but when Sam and I met, it was definitely a little bit awkward. So I can imagine even you for 9 months speaking to somebody. What did you feel a little uncomfortable, or were you more too excited, or how'd it go?
Weirdly, it was so natural. So I didn't see them straight away. I came out of arrivals and I could not see them anywhere, and I just heard her shout Chloe, and I was like, oh my god, she's real, because even though I've been video chatting her for so long, a part of me was like, she could be an actor. She's hired these kids.
I had the same thought.
Honestly, I mean, I know this is different because you're meeting, a friend versus kind of a relationship, but even, before Monica and I met for the first time, we'd Skyped so many times before that, and FaceTimed, we had each other's numbers, I'd met her family over FaceTime and stuff, but literally, I was on the train down to London. It's like a 3.5 hour journey. Down from Chester to London, and I was literally just going through in my head all the time for hours on end. I was thinking, oh my gosh, what if this is like a scam? What if she was a paid actor? What if I'm going to get kidnapped?
No, you know what I thought? I was like, what if it's some new technology where someone can do
a
face thing and make it look like someone else? So I literally thought of every possible situation that it could have been.
I had as well her Uncle Rod, who I'm really hoping is listening to this as well. Her uncle had decided, he knew I was getting quite anxious about coming over, and he works like early in the morning. So I was sat in the airport and he was keeping me company and asking how I was doing. And I was like, oh my God, this is a cult. I'm going to a cult. I was so convinced.
You're entering Midsummer. Have you seen that film?
I haven't, but I think I know what you're on about.
Yeah.
Don't watch it. It's terrifying.
But yeah, I was just, even though I knew her and I'd seen her kids, I chatted to her kids, I chatted to her husband, I was like, she's not real. There's no way. Part of my brain went, you're an idiot. Have you never watched Catfish? Like, what is wrong with you? But yeah, so meeting her, like seeing her face was amazing because I thought, oh my God, I'm not an idiot. My family were convinced I was going to die. They did not want me getting on a plane. They were convinced that I hadn't done my research. My dad hugged me and he was like, just come back alive.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was insane. So
Well, that's
I was
parents,
oh my God,
isn't it?
I've made a mistake. But yeah, so seeing her face, I was so relieved. And they'd made a little sign that said, welcome to America. And it was so cute. But yeah, weirdly, it wasn't awkward, like back to your original question. And I'd met a couple of people from YouTube that live in England before.
Right.
And that was if anything, it was more weird. Like I travelled about an hour just to go shopping and stuff, but then I flew like a whole 10 hours or whatever it adds up to. And I was like, it was the most natural friendship ever. So we were sat in the back of the car, like driving back to her house, and I was like, this doesn't feel like I haven't met you yet.
Oh, I love that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was so cute.
So, in your email, this is where the
part.
story gets good.
It gets juicy.
In your email, you mentioned that you ended up meeting her brother. So, do you want to take it from there?
Yeah, so I had spoken to Cole before I went, and just like really casual things of, I don't know, he was at work and bored, or he was driving a truck somewhere, and I'd made a comment about how like all Americans drive these massive, huge trucks that are really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, true.
Like really silly things like that, and I can't even remember what some of our first conversations are about. Like my car broke down, and I told him my car was rubbish. Just silly things, and we'd been teasing him for, God, probably at least 4 months before I went out that he had a crush on me, because he'd seen some of my YouTube videos and apparently thought my accent was really cute. So he changed his, I can't say the product's name because it's sat next to me and will hear me. I'll just say the Amazon.
Oh, okay.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He changed her name to a like English accent.
Oh my gosh,
So
my mom did that with her
Did
thing
she?
as well. Yes, and now it's a British
Yeah.
man.
But yeah, so we just basically teased him that he thought I was cute and liked my accent. But I thought it was just a joke and a lie, and I have the emotional maturity of a 16-year-old, so I thought it was funny. But yeah, so then at the airport, when he was there with Brittany to pick me up, and I thought, oh, well, he's kind of cute, but I didn't really think anything of it. I was just like, oh yeah, like he's a cute guy.
Yeah, it was just kind of in passing, kind of like, oh, it's Brittany's brother.
Yeah, it's her little brother, and that's where it always freaks me out, because I say little brother, but Brittany's 4 years older than me, so he is her little brother, but he's my age. So a lot of people think I'm dating
he's
like an
22
18.
as well then?
He's 21 now. In January I turned 22, and then February he turned 21.
Perfect.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes. So yeah, it was just sort of weird to meet him as well, just because I'd been texting him a little bit. But then he basically was just around all of the time when me and Brittany had plans, because they're very, really, really close. So I'd go into her living room and he's there on the sofa. So it was just, he was like part of the furniture.
Okay,
really.
so it was just natural. It wasn't like he was kind of like hanging around you because you wanted to, get to know you and kind of, he wasn't kind of planning anything.
No, so the first time, like I said in the email, the first time we had an awkward, is this a date moment, was we all went out to the cinema. We went to see, it was The Joker actually, because it had just come out. And we all decided, it was me, Brittany and her husband, and then they sort of didn't want me by myself.
Yeah.
Like, well, they're on a date night, I don't want a third wheel, my friend. So she went, oh, well, we'll invite Cole, he'll come too. And I got to the till, and he refused to let me buy my ticket and bought me popcorn and a drink and all of that.
So he was like, "Oh, this is a date, whether or not she wants it to be."
in the nicest way possible. You kind of made it sound a bit.
I don't know whether he just wanted to be nice or whether he wanted to make it a date. Like, I don't think I've ever asked him that.
Is he is he just generally a gentleman in you know?
He's definitely like the stereotypical American gentleman.
I love it.
Good.
I wasn't allowed to open a door for myself or like carry a bag. It was amazing.
Okay, those you can't come across men like that often,
Yeah.
Especially where I live, like in New York. People just seem very like they're not really like the nicest.
Well, everyone's in a rush.
Yeah, everyone's always in a rush. So it's really nice to hear that there's guys like that, and you definitely have a keeper.
Yeah, he needs to hold on. But yeah, so we went to the cinema, and then it was a couple of nights later. It was near Halloween, so it was October. So I decided I wanted to go to a haunted house or like anything scary, just because English people do not do Halloween good.
Oh, terribly compared to America,
It's
right?
awful. So yeah, I was like, well, great, we're going, take me somewhere haunted. So we went on this haunted trail where like actors were jumping out, some guy had a chainsaw.
Oh, I hate those.
It was terrifying. I was so scared. And at one point there was a maze and it was pitch black, so the only way to not lose each other was to all hold hands.
Right.
So it was me, Cole, Brittany, and then Brittany's friend Sam.
Okay.
We all held hands to make sure we didn't lose each other. And then we came out of the maze, and I was like, I'm scared. I'm not letting go. So I just carried on holding Cole's hand.
Fair enough.
So wait, at this point, did Brittany like think like something is gonna happen? Did she ever say like, hey, it's okay if you end up liking him, or was there any kind of conversation where it kind of led to that?
There were jokey conversations because it was like still kind of clear at that time that I was in a relationship and I wasn't actively looking to get out of it.
Yeah.
So there were sort of jokey things like, be careful, he has a crush on you. And I was like, oh, don't be stupid. Like that sort of conversation.
Okay.
And then it sort of leads on to a little bit further on in the story when me and Brittany went on a night to like the pubs. Well, it's not even a pub, it's a bar.
The bars.
I keep forgetting all the different words. So we were going out and we stopped at her friend Sam's house first, and Cole was our designated driver because he was too young to drink there.
Okay.
Which baffled me. Because obviously I'd been drinking for like 3 years.
It's weird, isn't it? I had the same thing when I first went to America and Monica wasn't 21 yet, and neither was I. I was 19 or 20 when I first went over. And obviously I'd been drinking in the UK for a while, and so to come over and kind of to feel naughty about drinking alcohol was so weird.
It's so strange. Like I bought a bottle of vodka while I was there, and the guy asked my ID, and I was like, "Why?"
Yeah, literally.
I was 21, so I was like, "Oh, okay, like I'm allowed," but it feels like I'm only just old enough. But I've been going to pubs like every weekend for 3 years.
Exactly.
So it's so strange. He was our designated driver. Their cousin Hoss came along too, so he was just like chilling with us. But I think he was 20 as well, so they were both like hanging together while we got drunk.
Okay.
And then, so I guess back to the book thing. One of mine and Brittany's favourite books to talk about together are like teenage cheesy romances.
Okay.
And I said to her, I'm like, Brittany, this is the best setup for a cheesy romance. Like, girl comes to America, falls for her best friend's brother. Like, that would be a perfect book. And she was sort of laughing. And I was like, wow, would that I think that would be funny. And she was like, yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with it. So I was like, well, great. I've had a few gins at this point. I'll go for the story.
So this was like your kind of drunken, sneaky way of asking her permission.
Yeah, so I was sort of like, well, what would you do? And she's like, I wouldn't care, I love you. And I was like, this is interesting. But at this point, I'm like, still, in my head, it's still a joke. But it was becoming less and less of a joke.
Yeah.
So just to pause quickly on the story, were you still kind of talking to your boyfriend at this point? Were you still kind of FaceTiming him or kind of keeping him up to date with what's going on and stuff like that?
I probably FaceTimed him one time while I was there, and that was probably the first day I was there, just to show him I was still alive.
Right.
And then we'd maybe send each other about, 5 texts a day, just to say what I was doing that day. Like, there was no I love yous, it was just, oh, we're going to Target now. Oh, we're having, like, steak for dinner. It wasn't
like, oh, I miss you so much, I wish you were here, like that type of thing.
I don't think there was any, I miss you, I wish you were here. So
and do you think he felt the same kind of way about the relationship as you did? Like, obviously you were kind of stressed, you were tired of the relationship, maybe you were kind of looking to move on, and obviously you kind of, you know, even though it was a bit of a joke at this point, you were kind of falling for this other guy. Do you think he was in the same kind of situation? Do you think he was getting a bit tired of the relationship as well, or was he still kind of fully committed?
I mean, I don't want to like trash talk him too much, because obviously in the end of this I did still hurt him, so I don't want to say too much negative stuff, but he, as far as I'm aware, was absolutely loving it, because he didn't have to get up in the morning, he didn't have to go to work.
You were his mother, basically.
Yeah, he didn't have to cook, he didn't have to clean. So I'd gone away to America for, I mean, I only went for 10 days, but that was 10 days where he could sit in the house doing nothing and just like drinking, and he was loving that he could do whatever he wanted with me. Like,
and in general, in the relationship, was there any reason why he didn't have a job and earn money? Like, was he actively searching for a job? Does he have a disability? Like, is there any reason why he's unemployed?
No. He had a decent job. He was working in a supermarket, and they started giving him, he only went for like a 20-hour job, I think. And at that point, I'm like, please do full time, like we need it. And they started giving him more and more hours, and in the end he quit because he didn't want to work that many hours, and he was being given like 30 hours where I'm doing a full week.
Yeah.
So he would happily sign up for an 8-hour-a-week job, and when it pushed it to like overtime, he wasn't doing it, and then he said, no, I'm not doing this anymore.
Right.
One thing I will say for him though, like he used to have a lot more motivation, and he was joining the Army Reserves. And he got like a bit messed up with paperwork there, and everything was being delayed, and he sort of lost motivation with that. And then I think every job moving forward, as soon as something went wrong, he just didn't want to do it anymore.
Just gave up, yeah.
Yeah, so there was no reason at the point of this trip then that he shouldn't have been working. He definitely should have been working.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get to. Is there any kind of any reason why he's unemployed, a disability or something like that? But,
no, it was just unmotivation.
Unmotivation and kind of not wanting to step outside his comfort zone to an extent, potentially.
Yeah, potentially. But I think it was a lot of the fact that I'd never say obviously there's a problem with not working if there's a reason for you not to work. But if we would have had a sit-down conversation, he would have said, this is why I don't want to, then that would have been, if there was like a genuine reason, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We had a chat about it, but it was just that he couldn't be bothered.
Right. Fair enough. So thanks for clearing that up. Anyway, back to you were drunk at the bar. You basically got Brittany's permission. So what happened next?
So I got very drunk in a way that I'm slightly ashamed of. There's a lot more stories about that night that I could bore you with, but I won't. One to do with me telling a football coach's wife that she had a resting bitch face.
Oh my
sorry if I wasn't allowed to say. I didn't ask whether I can like swear or anything on here, so I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But yeah, so I made a bit of a fool of myself that night, and I got bought a lot of drinks because I just occasionally shout Harry Potter in a really British accent, and people would be like, oh my god, there's an English girl, like,
get her another drink.
Yeah, so we definitely lost count of how many drinks I had. Like, it was definitely the most drunk I've ever been in my life, but at the same time it was a lot of fun, so it wasn't awful. Like, I didn't do anything dangerous. I was with friends. But yeah, it was a bit of a dangerous night for me.
It was controlled, uncontrollable.
Definitely.
Okay.
So yeah, we ended up, we got home, and we got back to Brittany's house, and we were in like Halloween fancy dress. There were fishnets everywhere and fake blood smeared everywhere. But apparently she put me in bed. She cleared this up the other night when I told her I sent this story. So she puts me in bed. And it turns out that while I've been drinking, Cole's been texting me to check I'm okay, and I've been trying to flirt without really knowing what I'm saying.
Right.
So I do have all the screenshots from this night because I love to laugh at myself. But basically, I think someone in the bar said I was good looking, and I was like, oh my god, this guy said I was good looking, and he was like, well, you are. And I'm like, oh wow, thanks. Just really cheesy 12-year-old level of flirting. But I tried. So yeah, I woke up, saw all these texts, and I genuinely felt like I was going to die. I've never been that hungover I fully deserved it, but I felt so horrible. So I texted him and basically said, "Are you going to come and look after me? Because I don't know, want you to come and look after me."
Okay.
And he shows up like 10 minutes later with a load of Gatorade and cream soda, I think.
So by this point, you'd pretty much decided that you had a crush on him, and the other. Had you said anything to your boyfriend at this point? Did your boyfriend know that you'd kind of talked to this other guy and you were kind of falling for this other guy, or were you honest about your thoughts with your boyfriend, or was this something he didn't know about?
I was definitely not honest. He had absolutely no idea. And this is sort of like where this goes now is I was so confused. I've never, ever thought that like cheating on someone in any way, whether that's just texting somebody else, I've always thought it's the most disgusting thing a person can do. But I was so confused. I've never been that, like, there was so much going on in my head and I was throwing up every 10 minutes. So I didn't really know what was going on. And I just sort of was like, well, I may as well just have a chat with Cole about what I'm thinking, because nothing's happened at this point. It's just me trying to figure out what's going on. So I was like, it'd be nice for him to spend the day here, where we can just like talk and maybe get to know each other, maybe say like, look, we need to like cut this in, you can't do this anymore, and just sort of see where his head was at as well, because if it was all a lie and like a joke and he wasn't interested in me in the slightest, then I was just making a massive fool out of myself.
So you wanted to kind of gauge the situation and see if he kind
before you took it further and said anything, how you were thinking.
I wanted to know what was going on in his head too, just in case it was all like a big joke that he just thought my accent was funny. Yeah,
that would have been very, very awkward if you were like said your feelings and then he's like, "Oh, I thought this was all a joke."
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
So basically, he came up. He gave you a load of Gatorade. You had a chat about it. You were throwing up every 10 minutes. He was being a complete gentleman, holding your hair back, all that kind of stuff. And you had a chat about this. And I'm assuming, because you're together now. Sorry for the spoiler, everyone listening, but I'm assuming he said he likes you too.
Yeah. So I mean, I can't remember the full conversations of the day because a lot of it was just me sleeping. And him just like staying there while I slept so that I didn't like roll on my back and throw up and die. So a lot of it was just him keeping me company, and we just sort of talked about like what I'd been doing the night before, really like a normal update, and then I kind of said along the lines of, I do think you're kind of cute.
Right.
And I'm a bit confused. I don't know what to do because I like rolled over and I think I was lay on his chest, just like half sleeping, and we made that eye contact, like when you're going to kiss someone.
Yeah.
And then I just started crying because I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm so confused. I don't want to do this to my boyfriend, but at the same time, I'm going home in 3 days. Like,
it's definitely it's a hard situation. It's a really hard situation.
So I was like, look, I want to kiss you, but I don't want to be a disgusting human and do this to my boyfriend. Like, that's not okay. But at the same time, what if I don't get this chance again?
Yeah.
Like, what if I never come to America again? Like,
so did you kiss him?
Yeah.
Did the fireworks go off? Like, what happened? Like, when you kissed him, were you like, okay, I definitely made the right decision here? Like, did anything come to your mind where you're like, all right, the relationship with my boyfriend is over because this is the guy?
Yeah, it was definitely, I mean, I really don't want to give too much description because I know his grandma might listen to this. So it's just, it was, I will say the only thing that happened was we kissed, and we kissed a few times, but it was just insanely like, I think it was more like, not this is what I'm going to do because this guy is amazing. It was, oh my God, what am I going to do? I thought this was going to feel really wrong.
Yeah,
but
then it felt right.
Does not feel wrong. Yeah, it does not feel wrong in the slightest, and I need to figure out what's going on in my brain.
Wow. So basically that happened, I'm assuming, for the last 3 days of your America trip. You obviously had a good time with your soon-to-be boyfriend, with Brittany's brother.
Sorry.
No, continue. I was just kind of summarizing what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, he went home that night, and I was sort of like, okay, I'm gonna get the stick out of my hair, get in pajamas and you can go home. And then over the next couple of days, we didn't want to tell Brittany what was going on because I was still really confused what was going on. Mm-hmm. So over the next couple of days, I don't know, people would have their backs turned and I'd kiss him or something. Like we wouldn't do anything in front of anyone because I still didn't want.
You didn't really know what was going on.
So you felt kind of guilty for two different reasons. Firstly, because of Brittany it being your best friend's brother, and secondly, obviously, you have a boyfriend, which obviously we'll move on to it in a bit. But you'd already kind of got permission from Brittany already, so...
I think it was okay with her, but at the same time, I thought it wasn't. Like, I don't want to repeat the word, I just apologise for saying, we confirmed that she has a resting bitch face. So when she's comfortable around you, you get that face constantly, but I didn't know that. So I'd look over at her after Cole had left and she looked like she wanted to kill me.
Oh, so you thought she knew and that she was mad at you and
so I got sort of permission from her and I'm like, oh no, she hates me now. What have I done? And then it got to the end day and she's like, that's just my face. I was like, oh dear, I've been thinking you hate me.
You're like, that's a relief.
Yeah.
So the last 3 days, did you spend them mainly with Cole or did you still spend them with Brittany?
Probably half and half. He would go home every night and he'd turn up sort of midday. So when it was just me and Brittany in the house with her kids and her husband, we'd sit and watch a movie or whatever. We all went out for a nice walk. We went for a little hike. That was really nice. And then Cole had got a tattoo while I was there and he needed to go get the dressing on it changed or something. So I went with him alone to get that. And I was so good. I was stood in Brittany's living room are you sure it's okay that I go out with Cole tonight? I don't want to ditch you. And she's like, just get in the car and go.
Okay, so she was completely
so
okay
I feel like she knows. I feel like it's kind of the same relationship I have with my brother, is that she just knows he's a good guy and wants him to be happy. So it's good to know that she's that kind of person, because a lot of people would not be okay with this. But I'm glad that she was, and she wants what's best for you and for him.
Definitely.
I'm so grateful that she's happy with it.
Definitely. And I mean, now that it's kind of the best of both worlds, because you got your best friend and your two best friends and you're dating one of them.
Yeah, it's sometimes one of them will video call me and they'll be with the other one, so I end up having a conversation with both of them, and it's so nice.
So walk me through. So you basically you had the last 3 days together. It was absolutely great. You spent it kind of equally with Brittany and Cole, and then you went back home. What happened once you got back home? Did you break up with your boyfriend straight away, or what happened?
Did you tell him what happened, or?
Yeah, so it's very, very confusing, but I got home and my mom picked me up. I got the train home from the airport, so my mom picked me up, took me home, and I mean, my boyfriend didn't really look happy to see me, and I wasn't over the moon to be home. I was still sad that I had to leave. So I was like, oh, hi. And my mom even picked up on it. She said, you did not greet him like you've been without your boyfriend for 10 days. What's going on?
Yeah.
So I didn't, but we both reacted that way. We both weren't excited to see each other. It was just, we're back to normal now.
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything straight away, and I was texting Cole and trying to be look, I don't know what to do, because one, am I ever coming back to America? If I'm never ever coming back to America, then I still need to maybe break up with my boyfriend because I've done this horrible thing. But I need to cut contact with you too, or this is going to be too difficult. So I didn't say anything. It was probably about maybe 3-4 days that I didn't say anything to my boyfriend. And part of my little book YouTube thing, I keep a proper journal where I scrapbook and stuff. It's kind of sad, but that's a whole different thing. And I'd written in there something about censoring what I was writing down in case anybody else read it. And one night while I was sleeping, my boyfriend found my journal and read it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that was a whole other separate thing. But he'd read the journal. He found tickets from the cinema. He found a receipt of Cole getting me Gatorade or something, and I was like, oh, Cole brought Gatorade, I was feeling sick or whatever. Because I've kept a journal for years, so it was just sort of natural for me to write it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's what I'm doing forever. So he said, I read this and what happened? And I didn't want to tell the truth at the start. I was like, why? I was more angry that he'd read it.
Yeah.
And I explained, I said, look, like, I don't know what's going on in my head. I'd had a couple of drinks, we went out, and the morning after, like, he came and comforted me and he gave me a cuddle, and I wasn't 100% honest. I'll put my hands up to say I wasn't 100% honest. And I was like, look, I still need to figure out what I'm doing. I've still got a chance to tell the truth, but I need this conversation to stop, because it was like 3 a.m. He was screaming at me, and I was like, I just need this conversation to stop. So then I think I might have written something else down the next day and said, we had this argument. And it turns out he then read my journal again. And I was like, look, you can't do that. And then it was at that point I was then forced to be honest, because it was, you know, it all happened. And I was like, right, this is what happened. And we need to sort ourselves out. Either we can just end it now, or you need to go out and get a good job and be motivated, because otherwise I can't do it. I'm the one that's done the horrible thing, but I need this, like, emotional load on me to go too.
Yeah.
And yeah, so over the next maybe week or so, he sort of made no effort to do anything differently. Like, he said he forgave me for everything that happened.
And you, just to cut in, you were talking to Cole during this time, were you? Like, romantically?
Yeah, so we weren't talking, I wouldn't say romantically, it was more, I'm confused, I don't know what to do.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm with you. So you're looking at him for kind of advice, rather than being like, oh my God, I can't wait to be with you.
Yeah, it was like advice and maybe comfort I would stretch it to, but it wasn't, I'm in love with you, I can't wait to see you again, things like that.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know what to do, I'm confused.
Like, let me sort my mind out first kind of thing.
Well, just really quickly, I'm going to hold my hands up and say I have no experience dealing with this situation whatsoever, so I can't even imagine what was going through your head, never mind Cole's and your boyfriend's and Brittany's heads. So, you know, we're kind of looking to you for kind of advice on this, and how, you know, talking about kind of how you felt and how your boyfriend felt and all that kind of stuff during this situation.
Yeah, I think it was so hard, because obviously I had been with my boyfriend for that long, but I never want to bring down how much of a stress I was under too. Like, I've dealt with it since last October, of feeling guilty, but then at the same time I have to think it wasn't a good situation. So half of me blames myself for kissing Cole, and half of me thinks, you know what, you weren't happy and you couldn't have carried on like that, so something had to trigger the end of that relationship.
Right. Okay, so you're viewing it kind of like as the trigger for, you know, the eye-opening kind of...
The wake-up call.
The wake-up call.
Yeah, and I guess there's been a lot of people in my life, like, I've lost friends over this who think I am a horrible person for doing that, but I have to just think that I wasn't happy. I was shown a different way of how you should be treated, and I just sort of went for it, I guess. I don't think there's a nicer way to say it than that.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, we can't really kind of make judgments on this, because, like I said, we've got no experience with it whatsoever.
Yeah, and I've never been in any type of situation like similar to this, so I don't know what to say / not to say. But honestly, I feel like everything happens for a reason, and I fully believe that. So the fact that, you know, you had to go through something that you didn't want to go through, like, regardless, but the fact that it brought you to actual happiness now, and now you're with someone who you really love and who brings you up and stuff.
Well, we haven't got into that part yet. Yeah. So basically...
I know, we've been talking a long time.
We have. This has gone on for almost 40 minutes now.
Jesus,
it's a really interesting story, and we're loving it.
I told you I was captivated by it.
So, as a real quick overview, you were in a relationship for 4.5 years. You met your friend through your YouTube... What's your YouTube channel, by the way?
It's called Chloe Reads Books.
Okay, so you met your friend about 2 years ago through your YouTube channel, Chloe Reads Books. Went over June 19 to visit her, met her. I almost said her brother, her boyfriend. Then you met her brother. Things hit off with you. Things were rocky with your relationship. Came back. You admitted to your boyfriend that you kind of cheated, but things were over. What happened after that? Did Cole fly over to the UK, or? And
how long did it take to end your actual relationship with the boyfriend? Did you say, like, you know, after you told him what happened, how long did it take for you to actually break up with him?
I'd probably say for it to come to like a final, this is over, it was probably 3 weeks after I got home.
Okay.
So there were obviously a lot of problems, and I'd admitted to what happened, and we'd had a bit of a chat, and then I don't want to talk about it too much because I will start getting upset, which you don't want. But he got very, very aggressive after all this came out. And
physically or emotionally?
I'd say emotionally towards me. like, he didn't hurt me, but he was definitely physically aggressive around me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like slamming doors and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was a lot of smashing photo frames and me, like, having to barricade the door when I went to sleep at night.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
That's a really toxic situation.
So you're sleeping in different rooms?
Yeah, so we had a spare bedroom, and I said, like, you need to go in there, we're having an argument. And then I think actually I went in the spare bedroom initially, and I shut the door, and in the middle of the night he came in to shout at me at like 3-4 in the morning, and obviously I had to get up to go to work the next day, so I was angry. I was like, look, this is a situation, but I need to go and earn money to pay the bills, so leave me alone.
Yeah.
So after maybe, I'd say like a week of that sort of treatment, I thought, I can't do this, you need to leave. And originally he refused to leave the house. Because he was on the rental agreement, but obviously wasn't paying anything. So he was getting a free ride. He was loving it. And yeah, at one point I called his dad and I was like, he needs to go. I can't be around him if he's being like physically aggressive. It's scary. And yeah, his dad ended up like getting him a new place to stay because his dad lives in Wales. So it was quite like he couldn't physically come and remove him, I guess. So yeah, he ended up getting a new place to stay. And I think, like, to be honest, for him, I think he tried to hang on to the relationship a little bit even after he moved out. Like, he wasn't quite accepting that it was over.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a lot of like trying to get me to go round and see him and talk to him, and I wasn't interested at that point because of all the like aggression.
Yeah.
I thought I don't want to be around that. You physically scare me.
Yeah.
So why would I put myself alone with you? I don't want to.
So quickly, talking about saving the relationship, but at the point at which you got back to the UK, was there any part of you at any time that you were trying to save the relationship yourself? Like, did you try and work things through, or did you just kind of have it in your head, like, you know, you've weighed up the pros and cons of both guys. This relationship is over. I need to do this in a nice and calm manner and just get him out of my life and move on with it.
I think a part of me, because we'd been together 4.5 years, like we got together when we were 17, like 16, 17. So a big part of me didn't want it to end because it felt like a big chunk of my life.
Yeah, it's an end of a really important era.
4.5 years is a long time to be with somebody.
Yeah.
Like that's Sam and I right now.
That's how long we've been together. Yeah.
So it was sort of crazy because a part of me wanted to fix it. So that's why when we had a chat one time, I was like, look, if you can get a job, if you can prove, even though I was in the wrong, I was like, if you can prove to me how much you want to change for me to stay around, then maybe we can save this. And I was saying things like that.
So you kind of gave him an ultimatum and he didn't obviously stand up to it.
Yeah, I think part of my brain knew that even giving that, I wasn't 100% set that would save anything.
Okay.
But as soon as he didn't feel didn't feel the ultimatum, I was like, yeah, no, this can't happen.
Yeah.
Like, you need to go. I'm sorry.
You kind of realised your self-worth.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't ever want to say it in that, like, oh, I deserve better. But at that point, I was like, yeah, I deserve better. Thank you.
No, I get you.
So
it took about 3 weeks or so for you to finally kind of break things off with the boyfriend fully. I'm assuming you were living in that apartment. You're on your own after that.
Yes, so I only had that place up until we'd like had a 6-month rental agreement on that place, so it was up in February. So I still had a little bit of time in there that I had to physically stay there by myself.
Yeah, and then so what happened with Cole? Just to kind of wrap things up. What happened with Cole after that?
The best part of the whole story.
Yeah, we sort of left him out. I feel bad for him. He basically he'd never really left. I don't think he'd ever left like Illinois more than maybe twice. Well, that's a lie, but not many times. I've like now started remembering things.
He never travelled to Europe and stuff. Put it that way.
Yeah. So he didn't have a passport. So I was like, right, okay. This is what's going on in my life. If you want to try and do this long distance thing, then, you know, we'll talk about it. Maybe we can do it because, I mean, I'd never had an experience like that. He definitely had never had an experience like that. So I didn't want to straight away. I was kind of scared, and I'll go back to the little fangirl thing of I was watching a lot of your guys' videos.
I love it.
So much.
Thank you.
I was like, look, people can do this. So maybe I can do this. Like, I had such a great time with him. He treated me so well, and I didn't want to lose him. So I was like, well, I guess we're doing this. So, I had to wait for him to get a passport. As soon as he had a passport, we booked some flights. and he came here in January this year.
Wow.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
See,
So
like,
you've
when
been together officially about 6 months or so now, have you?
Yeah, just over 5 months.
Right.
It's like when you know someone's worth it, you literally do anything in your power to be with that person. Like
100%.
that's like the best thing about like LDR relationships. It's amazing to see like what's the word I'm looking for? Like how far someone will go.
Yeah,
for
they're kind
you.
of, yeah, 100%.
It's just I love like hearing about stories like this because it's just he's good for you if he's gonna like if both of you are willing to go back and forth like 4,000 miles to see each other. It's just so special.
Yeah, like I've said this multiple times in our videos and stuff before, but thankfully Monica and I are in an okay financial position now. But the first time I ever flew over, I was just a kid. It was almost 5 years ago. I went into debt. I literally went into my overdraft to fly over to Monaco because I knew that it was real.
Yes, I luckily, because of even with all the stuff that was going on with my ex-boyfriend, I've got I'm an accountant right now, it's from uni, so I have been doing okay financially. So one flight out there is not going to damage.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, but then it was slightly different for Cole. Like for his flights out here, he'd had a seasonal job when I was out there, so it ended while I was there, and then he hadn't secured anything new yet. So he was sort of like, oh God, well, I really, really want to come and see you, and I'm going to spend this much money because I really want to. But it was definitely a bigger decision for him to spend the money. So that's what made me realize this guy,
he's serious.
Yeah.
Definitely. So did Brittany come over with him when he first came over, or did he come on his own?
No, he came on his own. Brittany is terrified of flying, so it's going to be a bit of a struggle to get her to come to England. But he just came by himself.
Right.
Oh,
and so how long did he spend here in January then?
He actually managed to stay here for 5 weeks, which was absolutely amazing. Because every time I look at going over there, it's 2 weeks maximum, just because of work and stuff.
Yeah.
So he was staying, and I was going out in the morning to go to work, and he was sat in my house because I couldn't get all the time off. 5 weeks is a lot.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so he was here for 5 weeks. He was here for both of our birthdays.
Oh, amazing.
He was here for Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day was his last day. So yeah, it was lovely.
That's absolutely awesome. And wait, did he fly out from Manchester Airport? You live in Worcester, don't you?
Yeah, so he flew into Birmingham.
Oh, okay. Oh, of course he must have. I was going to say Monica arrived on Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
so imagine if we passed in the airport.
Oh, that's so cool. No, he flew to Birmingham.
I love this
Awesome.
story.
Yeah, I love this story.
This story makes me so happy, and although it didn't play out how you would imagine it to, it's still just so amazing that both of you are making it work and showing that you love each other, and I just love it.
Well, Monica and I, like we said, we're not going to make any judgments as to anything. We're, obviously our listeners will let you guys make your own judgments on whether it's right or wrong or the best way to handle it and stuff. Just before we wrap up, is there anything you would have changed about the way you kind of handle things or whatever? Is there anything you would have changed if you could go back in time?
I think it's really, really hard to say because I feel bad about the way it played out, but obviously I am so happy with Cole right now that I can't imagine that I wouldn't have kissed him while I was there. Even if it didn't happen the way it did, I really think that would have happened at some point.
Yeah.
And there is no physical way that I could have said anything to my boyfriend at the time over the phone that would have.
Yeah, and I was thinking before if there was kind of any possibility you would have broken up with your boyfriend beforehand so as not hurt his feelings. But like you said, this was kind of the turning point. The meeting Cole and kind of flying out to Illinois to meet Brittany is, initially that was kind of the eye opener, wasn't it? So you wouldn't have known.
The whole, not even just meeting Cole, just the whole physical me going to America by myself without wanting my boyfriend there. That was a major eye-opener. Yeah. I don't think I would have needed... Well, this is where it gets difficult because I don't know whether I would have needed Cole for the full eye-opener. Would I have broken up with my boyfriend anyway? Is where I, struggle with it because it was such a bad situation.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for, going on and coming on the show and telling us all about your story. It's really, really interesting.
And for being so honest with your story as well. We really, really were so captivated when you emailed us because it's just... amazing how it turned out.
And do you have any kind of closing advice for anybody listening?
Oh, that's really difficult. I would just say that in this situation, like being in a long distance relationship, you need to know that that person is worth it. And I'm not sure how you figure that out, but you need to know it's worth it. Otherwise, like, it's not, I don't think it's that much of a viable situation to be in. But just knowing like how much me and Cole care about each other, there's no way we couldn't be together now.
I get you.
So,
It's
yeah.
This isn't going to be kind of easy for the listeners to kind of understand, but it's like, it's just one of those things, like, when you know, like, that's just literally it.
Like, I get a lot of comments, mainly from my family, to be like, why on earth would you put yourself through this? And it is just, I know that he is worth it, and one day we're going to be able to do all this in the same country.
Well, we'd absolutely love to kind of hear an update when you do plan that. I'm assuming there's no plans to kind of close the distance anytime soon?
No, I have plans in my head of what I would like to do, and he is aware of that. But right now, obviously, we haven't been together that long, and
definitely.
Yeah, it's not. I'd need more support from my family before I'd make any decisions. And I'm training to be an accountant, so I still have like 2 years worth of training left, and I'd love to finish that first.
Well, good things take time, so just be patient, and then the day you guys can close the distance, it'll be so worth it.
Yeah, and so good luck with everything, and thank you so much again for coming on the show.
Yes.
And
guys, go subscribe to her YouTube channel.
Yes, definitely do that. And I think this definitely goes to show, guys, that love literally has no limits.
Yeah.
You managed to navigate a 3,910 mile relationship. So yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And
Chloe, we'll have an update with you. Hopefully in a few months' time, you could come back on the show and talk about any updates and anything.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be really, really cool.
Awesome. So thank you, everyone, for listening. And thank you so much, Chloe, again. And we will see you on the next episode.
Let's do it. Okay. Talk to you soon, guys.